Alright, YouTube, we're back, of course, talking some Final Fantasy X. This is a discussion I've wanted to have for quite a long time on the channel, but I never knew if or when we might make this video. Also because it's a topic and discussion that's existed for a very long time now. Final Fantasy X is almost 25 years old, and there's been plenty of people who've discussed this particular subject, and we are talking about the infamous Laughing Scene. This is by far the most misunderstood scene in Final Fantasy X, and maybe even potentially the entire Final Fantasy franchise, because people tend to use this scene as an example of bad voice acting when it's not. As I said previously, I've been wanting to talk about this for quite a long time, many years at this point, and hopped on Twitter today, and there's a fucking video posted by Game Grumps talking about bad voice acting in games, and they used a clip of the Tidus Laugh in part of the video.
Voice acting is hard, but sometimes, when it's bad, it's pretty funny.
Also, the caption on the tweet is the worst voice acting ever. Now, with that particular video, they go over like 5 examples of some of the worst voice acting in gaming. They don't actually use FF10 as one of the 5 examples, but they do use it at the beginning as an example of bad voice acting. And again, it's not. That scene is completely intentional. I think that's what's always kind of frustrated me with that scene, the way people interpret it and make fun of it and, you know, use it as an example of bad voice acting when it's completely intentional. We know this from the localization director, Alexander O. Smith, and also from Kazushige Nojima himself, that moment in that particular scene is completely purposeful. So this is Alexander O. Smith, the localization director, explaining the scene. He says, it's completely ridiculous, it's a completely ridiculous scene, and it's funny. I hadn't ever really sat back and thought about the emotional impact of this scene. It's obviously the lead up to the thing. I want my journey to be full of laughter. It's very melodramatic, but so much of Japanese drama is melodrama. I mean, I spend most of my time working on games, just trying to pull it back and make it more real, make it more realistic. So you hit a scene like that, and you're like, okay, here it's impossible to make this realistic, so what do? And you're limited in the range of things you can do by obviously what's going on screen. And I think I talked to Final Fantasy X writer Nojima-san about the scene, like, what the fuck's going on, dude? Because this is very strange. And what should I tell the actor? What's his motivation here? Because it's, you know, it's a very unnatural scene. And Nojima-san had basically put it in there because of this laughing, making yourself laugh, forced laughter, is a thing he had been doing, and he had been taking some acting classes, and it's something that you do in acting classes. It is what it is, you know, it's kind of an awkward, funny scene in both languages. I think to the actor's credit, it's not worse in English. I think it's just about the same level of awkwardness, so that's a successful localization right there. So again, this was an intentional thing by Nojima, to have this like forced laughter thing that he was doing in acting classes back then, right, when they're making the game. So something that he's seen and done firsthand. So it's very fucking obvious to anybody who can interpret media in any capacity that if they wanted the voice actors to do an actual laugh for that moment, they would have. So again, it's not an example of bad voice acting, dude. It's completely intentional. It's a forced laughter moment. And if you watch the goddamn scene, did anybody actually play this game? It's very awkward for the characters, and also Tidus. It's intentionally awkward.
You probably shouldn't laugh anymore.
Prior to the laughing moment, it talks about how the summoners and their guardians are kind of the ray of, light for the people of Spira, how she kind of taught herself to smile, and has Tidus do that too. And then that moves on to like forcing himself to laugh.
It's embarrassing to say this myself, but summoners and their guardians are kind of like Spira's ray of light. I learned to practice smiling when I'm feeling sad, you know. Right. Now let's see what you can do.
Huh?
Come on.
This is weird.
Next, try laughing out loud.
What?
People also seem to be missing the context of the scene in that Tidus isn't exactly in like a happy mood, right? He's kind of sad because of information he learned prior to this scene that he potentially can't go back to his home, and if he can, it's maybe through sin, but also the sin is his dad. The gigantic monster that is going around Spira killing everybody is his father. That's a lot to process.
It is. Sin is Jecht.
They even show you as much at the beginning of the infamous laughing scene that he is sad. It's like people don't pay attention when they play this game or something. I don't know.
Hey, watch.
Hey, you got pretty good.
You sound sad.
Yeah, maybe.
Want to scream?
I really don't think that's gonna help this time.
So put yourself in that position where you just had all this like insane information dropped on you. You're obviously in a sad mood, and then somebody asks you to like smile and asks you to laugh, and like that's gonna be an awkward moment, even without like being in a bad mood or whatever, right? Somebody told you right now, I want you to laugh for me. It's probably gonna be kind of awkward, right? It's not gonna be a genuine laughter. But through this like awkward interaction between Yuna and Tidus, it brings out genuine laughter between the two, which it's a wonderful moment for both characters, and speaking of that, it's a scene that's not just about Tidus, even though he is the main character, right? It's also an important moment for the character of Yuna. As she says towards the end of the scene, she wants her journey to be full of laughter.
Thank you.
Huh?
I want my journey to be full of laughter.
And with the context of what happens later in the story and what the ultimate fate is of summoners at the end of their pilgrimage, you understand why she wants her journey to be full of laughter. And she's the kind of person that doesn't want to see people in her party, the Guardians, being sad at all, right? So like it was all done to cheer up Tidus, which it did do by the end of the scene.
If we should get separated, just whistle. I'll come running. I promise.
Well, let's go.
And once you go through the whole story and like you see like the full scope of everything that's happening in the background of the narrative, coming back to this scene, it's one of the best scenes in the game. It can maybe be argued for the best, maybe not quite the actual best, but it's one of the best scenes for those two characters specifically throughout the entire game. It's also one of the scenes that still gets me in this game, even though I've played it I don't know how many times throughout my life. I've seen the laughing scene, the ending sequence of the game, all the scenes in between, countless fucking times. Even right now, I'm still like watching it like off camera to like capture scenes and stuff like that. Still get me a little choked up because I know like the full scope of the story, right? It's such a powerful scene. And that's why it always frustrates me when people get to this scene and like talk shit about it. Like maybe it's kind of funny and awkward and whatever, cringy when you first watch it, right? I can definitely understand that and agree with that. And even after having played the game fully, like it's still like an awkward and kind of cringy scene, right? Intentionally so, but it definitely kind of is. But if you're somebody that has played the whole game and you know the whole story of the game, I don't know how you could ever look down on the scene and especially talk about it being like bad voice acting when again, it is fucking intentional. It's not an example of bad voice acting, bad voice direction or something like that. It's intentionally awkward, intentionally cringe, right?
What are you looking at?
We were just worried you guys might have gone crazy.
Now, there are times throughout Final Fantasy X where there can be some, like, awkward delivery or maybe even some bad voice acting, right? But in the defense of the game, it's the first voice Final Fantasy ever, right? And on top of that, it's still relatively early into voice acting for gaming as a whole, right? Given the time at which they were doing the voice acting for this game, it being the first Final Fantasy, very early into the PS2, it's got some damn good voice acting throughout the majority of the game, right? The main cast, I think, is all very, very good. Sometimes it comes down to just the length of the scene, right? Like the scene was obviously recorded and done in Japanese, and like they only have like this many seconds to say what they need to say in English. Like there's awkward times like that in FF10 where like James Arnold Taylor delivers the line like really, really fast or something like that just because he has to squeeze it in for like the time that's allotted or whatever. Going back to what the localization director Alexander O. Smith said about James Arnold Taylor doing like a pretty good job of like mimicking the awkward forced laughter that they had in Japanese is actually an example of very good voice acting. And actually, speaking of James Arnold Taylor, the voice behind Tidus in FF10, he actually did a video on his own channel almost 10 years ago discussing this scene.
Here it is, for once and for all, James Arnold Taylor telling you about the Tidus Laugh. It was supposed to be an awkward, goofy, dumb laugh. But the laugh was on purpose, okay? It was written that way. It's supposed to be like that. He's being a bit of a goof there. They laugh at the end of it. He laughs a little before it. This is silly, right? He knows how to laugh, okay? It's part of the relationship of Yuna and Tidus getting together and getting to know each other.
I'll, of course, link to the video in the description if you want to watch it. It's not that long. It's like a 4-minute video. But, like, he kind of says most of what I've said throughout this video at this point, right? Like, it's intentional, dude. If you can't grasp at it, you shouldn't even need a video or somebody to explain that shit to you. Like, especially the voice behind the character of Tidus, right? The fact that he had to come out and make a video almost 10 years ago. And even still now, this is almost 10 years after that video came out. There's still people that are misinterpreting that scene, misconstruing what's actually going on in that scene. It's like, if you can't grasp that what's happening in that moment is intentional by the characters, by the voice actor, by the fucking director who tells them what to do in the scenes and shit, like, my God. I think you're kind of beyond help at that point, right? But that's kind of it for the video. I just want to talk about this shit. I knew I would want to do this video at some point eventually. I'm surprised I hadn't done it yet, but for some reason today, seeing that video on Twitter inspired me. I love me some Final Fantasy X, and there's definitely moments in the game with the voice acting that you can like poke fun at and call unintentionally awkward or just bad delivery or something along those lines, right? But the laughing scene, I don't think is one of those. I think it's a fantastic scene. Fantastic voice acting. Anyways, that'll be the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Search in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, dashingdavidbusiness. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.